What's going on, guys? Niko here, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 Avicii songwriting tricks to improve your melody writing process. Now, Avicii had some really great melodies, and after going through all of them, I broke down 3 tricks that I found to be very helpful in my songwriting process. So by the end of this video, you guys will walk away with some new skills to help you in the melody writing process. So make sure you watch this video from start to finish. Don't skip any parts of it because I don't want you to miss out on the information provided. So with that being said, let's get to work. Quick announcement before we get started. I'm giving away a free piano lesson. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, comment down below piano mastery. Additionally, I'm giving away a free Avicii chord progressions MIDI pack for all my producer friends. You can check that out in the description down below as well. Now, let's get into the 3 examples I'm going to show you of melody tricks that Avicii used. All right, so the first trick we're going to go over is known as a repeat note or grace note, and it's the quick note right before you get into the note that's actually in the melody. So let me show you an example from SOS, and it sounds like this. So do you hear that quick? And this note, it just adds a nice little texture to it that gives it just a little bit more spice than if it were just. Versus. So there's 3 options for the grace notes, and I find anything after these 3 options to be a little bit too extreme. But what you can do is the grace note or repeat note can go, one note. So you can repeat 1 note. You can repeat 2 notes. So you can go. And guys, the best way to discover these notes is know the 7 notes in the key that you're in. And again, we play a lot here in the key of C on my channel. Most things are in key of C. So if I'm playing this G right here or this E, more likely than not, I can play the notes right before it and right after it. Quick repeat notes, right? So I'm using two notes. So if you listen in, and the third is using 3 notes. And this sometimes may get a little bit too aggressive, but you can test it out. Anything more than 3 may probably be a little bit aggressive and maybe a little bit too much, but it's always experimentation. I typically say 2 notes works really nice. 1 note is the most common. 3 gets a little bit pushing it. So if you go here, and this right here is what I call a cluster chord. And the way we construct cluster chords is it's basically using the 1-1-2 strategy. And if you don't know what these are, I have a whole entire video on chord construction strategies. What it is we take the 1, which is our C. We count 1 here, 1 note. Count 1 note or 1 semitone. And then we count 2 semitones. The 1-1-2 strategy. And this is how we construct the chord. And essentially all we're doing here is we're jumping these 3 notes up the octave. And that's where we're getting this melody from, right? So if you want to make a really cool grace note like sequence, you take the cluster chord, you invert it, and you jump stuff up an octave or jump it down an octave. And like if you have chords, like this chord, for example, right here, this is how you can get away with 3 notes. So another example of a 3-note grace note, repeat note type thing is if we have this A minor chord, like a quick, that'll sound good. And again, you can take some experimentation of what notes sound good and what don't. With chords, it's going to sound good though, because if a chord is played together, it sounds good. So you can arp up like that. So that's an example of a 3-note, grace note, repeat note, arpeggiation. Now, they can either come from 2 directions, or you can have, there's really, I'd say 3 variations here of the direction they come from. Now, we just saw how we can use the notes, right? Either they're neighbors or they're part of the chord. Now, direction of the grace note, very important here too. So I can go down, I can go up, or down. I can also go quick, down, up, down, or up, down, this. So again, you may think, oh, it's a quick repeat note. No, there's different directions. There's a lot of different combinations you can make here. So, or you can do 3 notes, back, forth, up. But I prefer like that. or 3 notes. Again, it gets a little bit too much for it to be a grace note. Then it kind of just gets like a very rushed melody. It doesn't sound that great. So 2 is good. Or just, or, right? So that's the first trick Avicii knows how to do a lot. And he uses these quick grace note, repeat notes in his melodies like SOS. And then we keep going from there. Avicii, also a quick songwriting tip is we use melody starters to come up with melodies. And I talk a lot about this. I think it's probably repeated so much on this channel, but it shows the importance and value of what these are. So for example, 2-3-5 is a very common Avicii melody starter, as well as 5-6-1. So if you're trying to come up with a melody, you can mess around with these melody starters in the order that you play them. So it could be like, that's the 2-3-5, and then I could play the 5-6-8. And maybe I combine all the notes together and combine the 2 melody starters. Right, so that's the second tip that I have for you guys. The grace note one was probably the biggest one. I reviewed that. The second tip is using these melody starters. So the last one we can do, and I covered it a little bit earlier, was arpeggiating chords out, right? Because I had for the grace notes that you can very quickly arp the chord going into the note. Now on this side of things, you can actually just arpeggiate back and forth, like in the song Fade Into Darkness, where he uses that root chord arpeggiation. So you can find a chord that you like. For example, maybe you like a cluster chord. So this C cluster chord, maybe you jump the D up an octave. Or maybe you like a C6 chord. Right, so this is just a quick songwriting trick for you guys to have. You're trying to come up with maybe some arpeggiation. Maybe it's not the melody. Maybe it's just some background music like Elenium uses a lot. He's a big into the arpeggiation methods. So anyway, just to conclude what you learned in this video, we went over repeat notes, we went over melody starters, and then we went over arpeggiating chords. And these 3 tricks and tactics should help you improve your songwriting. So if you watched all the way this far, thank you. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe down below. Hit the notification bell so that you get updates with all new videos that are coming out. Additionally, if you want a chance to work with me one-on-one, comment down below piano mastery, and we can do a one-on-one lesson absolutely free, and I'll teach you this stuff and whatever else you'd like to learn. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.